Hi and welcome to another weekly update from Seeking Change. What I'd like to do this week is talk about a situation that arose when I was doing a workshop training session with a group of young ladies who were single mums or mums who were in awkward situations with their lives. And we were talking and discussing about self-esteem, confidence, the role change when you become a mother. When you have children, you lose your identity in some senses, and fathers as well. And you become the child's mum or dad. So if people are speaking to you, they'll probably say, oh, Rosie's mum or Rosie's dad, or Billy's mum or Billy's dad. And they kind of miss the understanding that you're there. The child becomes much more of a focus, much more interesting sometimes. And so they kind of lose that identity when you become mums and dads and have children. And we were talking about how in that process that we give an awful lot of time to our children, which is quite right. And we discussed whether or not the child is the most important aspect of the relationship and the family. And there was mixed emotions about this, as you can obviously imagine. And I made the comments that you are as important as your children, or as your husband, or as your family, or as your friends. I said you're not more or less important, but you're as important. And we kind of debated that, and some of the people could understand that and get it, and some people were quite upset about it, saying no, the children are the most important. And so we debated around it, and they were kind of having a discussion in the room, and we came to a conclusion that if we didn't value ourselves, then we couldn't class ourselves as important. We would be less important. So we came to an understanding that actually maybe as important as is not a bad phrase to use when looking at yourself and thinking about yourself in relation to other people, because it gives you the same respect and validation as the other people around you, and it balances the equation. Sometimes the children will be more important than your needs, quite naturally. But that might be in situations that the children need lots of help, or it might be that the children are in hospital or suffering from some kind of medical or mental process. And so that then becomes the focus, naturally. But in the normal aspect of balance of life, then the phrase that would be more helpful and more appropriate would be I am as important as. And once we kind of looked at that, they could see that the respect and validation it gave them was quite immense. That nobody was more important than anybody else, but everybody was as important as. And if you can stick to that process of understanding and awareness and keep reiterating it in your mind, then eventually you will find that you will give yourself that validation and respect of time, energy, spending money on yourself. One of the ladies was saying that she had birthday presents in cash, and she would feel very guilty about spending the cash on her in the shops. So she would buy something small for her, or something not as good quality for her, and the rest of it she would spend in equal measure on the other 2 or 3 children. And we looked at that as this is as important as, and she could see that she wasn't valuing herself, and that maybe in other relationships and friendships that she was integrating with, then again she wasn't valuing herself. So it's really important that you see yourself as important as other people, if you can do that. It not only changes how you view yourself, it changes how other people interact with you as well. Because if you keep that focus, then other people will see that you need and should have respect and validation. And they then can be different with you. So it might take more than just the close relationships that you have different. You might find it works on a wider field. And as you grow in confidence and self-esteem, which is what we were talking about in the first place, then that validation and respect is much more able to be achieved and to be asserted on other people. So try and give yourself as much value as everybody else. Certainly in this time of giving, of Christmas presents, of doing things for other people, see yourself as important as. No more, no less. Just as important. Take care. Have a good new year.